You are very welcome to this, the Bitcoin Tarot podcast for the week starting the 30th of March 2018 with me, Cosmic Conroy. Last week, the cards led us on a foolish goose chase, promising growth and delivering nothing. I did warn that the Fool was the first card in the pack and that this might lead to us thinking that tricks were being played upon us. It turned out the Fool was indeed a prankster and a trickster. And as viewer Dreambot said in his comments, the Fool was tricking us that Bitcoin was going up, but in fact it took a nosedive. As I record, the price of Bitcoin has plummeted out of the long-term triangle of support. It's gone further down even than the long-term channel. Things are looking bleak, and it's only because I last week said the Fool was probably tricking us that I'm going to give myself a C grade for this week's score. But what will next week bring? As always, we turn to the tarot to find out, and I'll do my usual 4-card spread with a card to represent the past, the present and the future, and another card to represent an overall meta state to explain the whole reading. Our first card represents the past 7 days in Bitcoin, and that card is the 4 of Swords, Truce. This is a confusing card, really. It would normally be associated with happy things and the lack of battle and joy, but it can also mean that we have given up and have come to terms with whatever is wrong, in this case presumably the low prices of the last 7 days. So this does seem an odd card, but perhaps we can imagine the last 7 days were where we'd given up all hope. Our next card represents the current moment in Bitcoin, today or perhaps even this hour. And that card is the 17th trump card, known as the Star. Another confusing card because this one is also a happy, joyful card. We would expect it to be speaking of astronomical highs and inspiration and hope. But instead, we currently feel fear and loss and sadness. It is difficult to explain what this card might possibly mean, but the cards are telling us that this is a happy moment in Bitcoin's time. Perhaps our third card will help explain it. Our third card represents the next 7 days in Bitcoin, and that card is the Knight of Discs. You might say the most powerful money card in the entire deck. This is good news, everyone. The future should be bright. The Knight is a powerful character, and he brings wealth with hard work, and it would seem the critics are wrong and that Bitcoin is not diving into the abyss. The cards are confusing. They seem to indicate that we have been having a great time and feeling brilliant, and that we are inspired and hopeful for the future, which we expect to bring us wealth and happiness. And yet, this is not how I feel. With the price plunging, breaking record lows, looking like it might go lower, there's only one thing we can do to try and make sense of this reading, and that's to look at our last card. The last card represents a reason for all of the spread. It represents everything that's going on, a meta overview. And that card is... Yep, that would explain it. Our final card is the Devil. The Devil has come down to Bitcoin this week, and he has brought us pain. He has brought us sorrow. Now we can read this week's readings in a sarcastic light. Everything's been going brilliantly, hasn't it? We all feel really, really great. We think everything's going to go brilliantly. Not. With the Devil being our final card, we can see what's really going to happen. Everything has been terrible. Things feel awful and they're only going to get worse. The devil has come to Bitcoin and you should do all you can because Bitcoin is going to hell. That's the end of this week's reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to bring you a longer one with perhaps more detail and questions other than the price, or concentrate on some altcoins, but alas, I don't have enough money. If I could afford to take a day off work, I could do a longer reading, and thus we have the fundraiser. This week we received 0.1 etc. from the etc community. Thanks guys, you've done us all proud. It's not good enough though, and Ethereum is still in the lead with 2% of our target raised. But it's all still to play for. If you would like my long format show to talk mostly about Bitcoin, you can donate at this address. If you would sooner we talked about Ethereum, who are currently in the lead, then you should donate to this address. Second place is currently going to etc, who you can get at this address. And we also have a Bcash address for those of you who are not keen on Segwit. And finally, there's an address in red for people who support the social currency, for artists and mystics such as myself. It's all still to play for. So if you can't pay, remember you can still like and upvote and share. And if the devil doesn't catch you this week, we'll see you next week. In the meantime, may the Bitcoin bless you.